So we've talked about Ford, GM, BMW. Are there any other auto stories out there that maybe aren't among these names that folks are following every day that you think should be on investors' radar?
Well, let's talk about Ferrari, Nick. Ferrari reported this week. And Ferrari is interesting because it's kind of an automaker and it's also kind of a luxury company. I mean, in a sense, really, its best comps are companies like LVMH, Hermès, and so forth, companies like that. In terms of profitability and margin, I mean, these are very high-priced cars. They limit supply to ensure the exclusivity and so forth. They only build about 10,000 cars a year, and even that's up from 8,000 a few years ago, but that's sort of accommodating the Chinese market as it has matured and so forth. Ferrari had terrific profitability in Q2. We get excited when GM reports 12% EBIT margin, when BMW reports a 10, 12% EBIT margin. Ferrari's was 26.5%, which is, we're accustomed to seeing Ferrari 22, 24% range. As I said, this is a luxury company. 26.5 is a good quarter even for Ferrari. But the story isn't about chips. I mean, they're not dealing with, you go to the Lamborghini dealer and they're fresh out, so you got to go buy a Ferrari. That's not how it works. All these cars are built to order, and they're getting enough chips. When you build 10,000 vehicles a year, you're not having trouble getting chips. The story here is they have a new model, and it's a hybrid. This car is called the SF90 Stradale. Normally, when we talk about Ferrari, we talk about the ratio of V8 powered models to V12 powered models. When we look at their profitability from an analytical viewpoint, the V12 powered models are more expensive, they're more exclusive, they have fatter margins and so forth. So we look at that mixed every quarter. The SF90 Stradale is actually a V8 model, but it's a hybrid, and it's priced and positioned like a 12-cylinder model, which if you're deep into Ferrari, this is really interesting. Anyway, the price tag, this car starts at $625,000. It is the first Ferrari hybrid that isn't an exclusive limited edition where you have to be invited to buy one. Theoretically, anybody can walk into a Ferrari dealer and order one if you have the means, as they say, and from the reviews, I highly recommend picking one up. This is 1,000 horsepower cars that's getting rave reviews from all of the car magazines and so forth. It's what their Formula One drivers drive. They did a whole video of it, of their Formula One drivers, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, out on a track, playing with these things and so forth. And they were both like, whoa, these are young guys. They get to drive this car. Like, oh yeah, wow, this is great. What happened in the second quarter is they started shipping this very high priced new model with great margins, for which there has been considerable early demand among their extremely well-heeled client base. So it was able to record the revenue, and that push their margins way up. They too warn that margins will moderate somewhat in the second half of the year because the next new models to come out are V8s, and that's going to make up a disproportionate share as they ship. It's a revised version of their Portofino convertible and the Ferrari Roma, which is a new product for them. It's a sleek, smooth, what they call a Gran Turismo, a GT, kind of more of a cruiser than a track car, and there's been very good demand for it in China. Some interesting notes about Ferrari. They took a record number of orders in June, record month for them in terms of new orders. Their order book now stretches well into next year. And acting CEO John Elkann also noted that they're seeing more and more women buy Ferraris. In China, it's 1 in 5 of their buyers are women. And this is very interesting to them. They are noting a positive response, more women coming, particularly with the Roma, the car we just talked about, and that's a good trend for them in terms of their longer term order book and so forth. So it's a little business. I know not a lot of people follow it, but I mean, it's Ferrari. It's cool. I'm a car guy, and it's an extremely profitable, successful little business.
Yeah, well, so I'll give you kind of 3 maybe bullet points to pull out of there. So number 1, this SF90 Stradale, $625,000 price tag. We just saw the Bezos and Branson go to space. You can get a ticket to space with Virgin Galactic for $250,000. So it's literally cheaper to go to space than it is to get this car. Number 1. Number 2, we are in this world of hyper performance vehicles now are hybrid. Like hybrids are, you can get better performance out of a hybrid than you can get out of a traditional vehicle. You see the Formula One cars are hybrid today. So this is a development of it's not just like, oh, you want to save the environment, drive your Prius. If you want to have the absolute pinnacle of performance, a hybrid it can help deliver that for you today. And then also just how many rich people are there out there? It's incredible that there's this many people out there buying these cars on a yearly basis. And Ferrari, if you look at the market cap, I mean, this is a big company, right? I mean, when you look at the size of the business,
it's a company with like 3,000 employees or something. I mean, Ferrari is a lot smaller than people think it is as an actual company. It's one factory plus a little body plant, like 20 miles away, and their Formula One team. And, they're doing very well. Thank you.
Yeah, so just look it up. Market cap over 40 billion. So this tiny little company, they're doing very well. I hope I have the opportunity to pick up an SF90 Stradale. I don't think it's particularly likely, but Ferrari, if you're listening and you want to take me and John out for a test drive, we will take you up on that. But until then, John, always love having you on the podcast.